Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Henry Galliot, and welcome back to Bring On the Entertainment today. So, I have a special guest with me today, and I've been wanting to do an episode with this guy for quite a while. His name is Casey, from the guy that founded GeeksWorldwide.com. He's a pretty fabulous scooper. He's really great. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Casey to the show. How you doing, bud?
I'm lucky. I wouldn't say fabulous. There's much better people than me out there for
Sure,
sure.
you know. You're
But yeah, I didn't found I just want to make just I didn't found Geeks Worldwide. I came on probably a year into it. It was founded by a guy named Joe Barhoum, who's no longer with. He has since had a family and moved on, and probably has better sense than I do at this point. But uh, he's the one who actually founded, and I came on about 10 years ago, probably at this point. God damn.
yeah,
Super
totally. Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to give you guys a heads up here. So this is an episode that we're going to get very fiery on because I've wanted to do an episode on this for quite a while, and we have like a bunch of we actually have two hot button issues we're going to talk about today, and the first one being about this Disney versus talent relationship thing that I am just very disgusted by because again, it's this whole streaming era bullshit that's just it's like all the studios have just flat out said we don't give a shit about the talent, we just want the numbers, we want the rising stuff there. And again, this is coming from a guy that loves the products that these studios produce, but by God, have they screwed the pooch on this one. I'll get more into like the Disney stuff in a bit here, but we're also going to talk about, has fandom turned to the dark side? Has this anti SJW fandom menace stain on culture kind of ruined the fun for everybody? And we'll get into more of that at the end of the show, but we'll have a couple other topics between there talking about the Hawkeye release date and the Barbara Gordon with Commissioner Gordon, J.K. Simmons coming back. So let's get started with our show here. So, yeah, Casey, Disney, by God, I'm going to say it right out front. I think the leadership of Bob Chapek has been fucking awful. It has been terrible. He has pissed off not just people at Marvel. He's pissed off the Pixar people. He's pissed off the Lucasfilm people. He's pissed off the park people. Like, this guy is bad news. Even I didn't even know who this guy was until like a year ago. But when you like dig into like this fucking asshole, you start to realize, oh, this is why Disney's very cheap. It's because of this guy. I mean, if you like, if you even look at a picture at this guy, you can tell this guy's kind of sleazy. And this Scarlett Johansson thing is like his chickens coming home to roost. And it's not just her. Kevin Feige's pissed at her, pissed at him, and also Emma Stone. But two of them are going to be suing him. So it's going to be Scarlett Johansson and Emma Stone. So, Casey, I want you to like lay it all out and your opinions on this thing here. And we'll probably spend a little more time on this topic than the other two quick topics. But yeah, just lay it off, my man.
Sure. Yeah. So I've heard the same thing. He dumped all of Pixar's stuff on Disney Plus with no. They didn't even get like a premium access, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, understandably why they're all pissed. And then he moved. Did he move a bunch of people from like LA to Florida? Like they're gonna move
Yeah.
like half of their offices from LA to Florida or something crazy.
Yeah. For cheap
Um,
rent stuff there.
yeah. So that's not cool. And then yeah, all this stuff where he's not paying actresses, and then the fact that they just didn't learn from what happened with WB and all that fiasco and Legendary and all that happened right in front of their eyes, and there's like, it's not going to happen to us, and then it totally happened to them, which understandably, like, when you make those contracts, ScarJo, it sucks for her the most, right? Because Perlmutter came in and basically pushed her off to the side, didn't let her get her solo movie, while Downey and Evans and Hemsworth all got these fat back end deals, and I mean, especially like Hemsworth and Downey probably because their films made billions of dollars, right?
And wasn't Kevin Feige the one that pushed back against Isaac Perlmutter because he hated the way they were like being treated, though, right?
Yeah, but Bob Iger, basically he really pushed back against Perlmutter, and Iger kind of stepped in and kind of just said, "Go do your thing," right? And then that's where we're kind of now you can see that shift too, right? You can see where all the movies kind of were this one thing, and then like kind of Thor Ragnarok started to
Yeah.
happen, and
Yeah.
there's this massive like whoa, there's
Yeah.
like an obvious change happening here.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, and they're spending more money, and so yeah, there's definitely some issues over there at Disney that they need to get worked out, and I'm not sure how long. Is it Chapek? Chapek? I don't know if Chapek is going to last because if you're pissing off every employee, including Feige, like I don't know. And I don't think Feige wants the job either, because I guess that's who everyone would turn to next, right? Like I guess
I think he'll probably become more of an Alan Horn thing, but I don't even think Feige's going to win this fight, though. I feel like Bob Chapek is like locked in for at least 5 years, and then he's probably out of there. Like again, you know, like you can have like asshole producers like Tom Robbins. I mean, Tom Robbins doesn't like comp movies, but he runs a very good studio. He's good with talent. He may not like his specific genre, but he's still good with talent there. But this guy clearly doesn't give a shit. Like the guy just flat out just.
Yeah, it's all about the bottom line, right? And the problem is that it's working. That's where you run into like this real like, well, fuck. Like this is where like this like the corporate world kind of runs into like the general populace or in the art world, right? Where he's making all these cuts and he's doing all these things, but during a pandemic, like they have a stock, like their stock went up.
They had a stock boost there.
Yeah, so I mean, whatever he did, it worked for them and it worked for their stockholders, and that's ultimately who he works for. So
yeah, and
as long as that keeps happening, I mean, it's hard to say, but I mean, if you lose Feige, like
that's going to be in there. But I guarantee you, the thing I've been noticing about Jay is that he's very good at the press. Like he's very good at like sneakily attacking like his enemies, and I just worry that this is going to be like a civil war between Feige. Well, at least that's what the Midnight Edge people think, but I don't know. I don't really trust them that much, you know.
I don't know who that is, but
you know.
I don't pay attention to that stuff. But yeah, so I do understand. Yeah, I mean, it could be. I mean, there's no. I mean, if he has another Ike Perlmutter situation on his hands, like right, like he's not gonna want to have to like go through all that again, especially when they're succeeding on the level that they are, and they are going to this new phase where everything is going to be kind of off the wall and a little bit different.
Off the wall, a little bit different. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's going to need the money and he's going to need the star power, and it's going to be hard if this guy is going to be like no.
Yeah, and here's like one of the things that I think. Okay, look at this. Okay, actually, there's actually like an interesting thing here. Actually, wait, never mind. I actually don't think that's actually like true there. Okay, anyway, I was just trying to say here. So, one of the crazy things that the reason why Disney's been so successful over the past decade is not only Feige and like Pete Docter and the other guys, but it's also been Alan Horn and Bob Iger who fucking cherish talent relationships. Again, they're the reason why the theatrical levels have been so good, and the reason why they've like had a lot of great talent relations.
Right.
And like the fact that like that he's just flushed this all away in about a year and a half. Like it's crazy. This is like just bonkers. It's bullshit. And people are defending this guy. Like, look,
I don't know how you're going to defend that. I don't if they have contracts. Like it's totally understandable because I bet Scarlett Johansson. I don't want to call her ScarJo. That's so
ScarJo's kind of weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Scarlett Johansson was expecting like, oh, I'm gonna get like my movie's gonna make $800 million minimum. Like I'm gonna make like 50 million off this thing or something crazy. And then she gets like 5 or something. You know what I mean? Like it's like fuck. Like I would be fucking pissed too. And yeah, I mean they have every right to be, and so does Emma Stone, and they're huge stars, and that's how they make their money, and that's how they're gonna have to make these deals going forward. Yeah. Right. So like they're gonna like I'm sure what company was it? Universal that was like doing
Universal was the first one to like sort of do this like 3-week window thing, and then it was like Warner Brothers, which by the way, thank God that like AT&T thing fell apart, man, because by God was that just Man, that thing just came and went in like about a year. Like it's crazy, like how like quick things change there. So with that one there as well. So yeah, and then now it's gonna be with Disney. And I'm just, I really hope, I really fucking hope that I hope the lawyers come in. I hope
Oh,
they.
I guarantee you they're gonna settle. There's not gonna be anything about this. I'm just surprised it got out. Like, I mean, I guess someone was on top of a court filing. I guess when you see fucking Scarlett Johansson's name pop up,
Yeah,
it raises some red flags.
yeah,
But what I mean. I do think they'll settle all these out of court, and it's a little bit of a saber rattling on
yeah,
everybody's part.
yeah,
But on that, what I mean, it's not a good look uh, for the new guy in charge.
yeah. Just so fucking awful. Okay, so I think we get the point now. So yeah, any final thoughts on this? So like, do you think this will affect how Disney works in the future of talent? Do you think there's going to be like ramifications? Do you think there's going to be like a civil war with like them? Because
No, no, I think I think they'll get it all worked out. Like I said, when you're making billions of dollars off of this stuff, like you figure out. I'm just surprised it got this far and they didn't figure it out like before it got out like to the public. And then you know what I mean? Like
I'm not
that
surprised
seems really
anymore.
dumb. But I think they'll get it all worked out, and at some point they're going to figure out a way to monetize the Disney Plus model with theatrical. Because I don't think the Premiere Access thing is a bad idea.
I
Like,
totally agree.
you can't do it. You can't. Sorry, my kid's in the background.
That's all right. It's cool, buddy.
You can't do it in the
In the
you can't
HBO
give it away
Max,
for free. Like there has to be a middle ground. You can't give it away for free, and you can't charge too much for it. But I think $30 is a little bit too much for it.
I think $20 is like a good. Like,
I think 20, yeah, 15, even. I would think they would double their
yeah.
the amount of people they're getting. But yeah, I think there is a way to make it work. But then you have to also make the contracts work for those talent. You either have to pay them more upfront,
Yeah.
right, or you have to pay, which means smaller budgets for the actual production.
Totally.
Or you have to figure out a way they get a cut of that Disney or the streaming stuff.
Yeah, totally. Which is why I'm very worried about how Suicide Squad's going to do, because again, that's a fucking theater movie, and the fact that it's going to be undermined by this like HBO Max day and date thing because people can get it for free, that's going to hurt it very much. So all
Yeah, but I don't think you can't count. Like you can't count a film's box office this year. I mean, yeah, if there was a back end deal and an actor got screwed, totally they should have been like compensated for the like quote unquote amount that they like were projected to get at least, or I mean, negotiated some type of like in between there, considering the situation. So, but we can't say this movie bombed or this movie flopped because we just can't. We can't say that. We just don't know. Unfortunately, you have to write. Then they've written every movie off this year. WB for sure. Everything's a write off, right?
Honestly, I just kind of wonder like how, because again, like this whole like premium thing's gonna end up Jungle Cruise, and I wonder, do you think Dwayne Johnson's gonna sue? Do you think Emily Blunt's gonna sue? Like what about them? Like what about their deals? Think they're gonna like come in and like say, hey, what the fuck,
I don't know. I who knows what deals they made with actor, or who knows what deals they have. I mean, I think it depends on like if this was a franchise plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like Cruella was right. There's already a sequel
like
in the works.
Office bomb, though. I don't think it did very well on the premium plus side of things.
No, it didn't, but it did critically, like amazing, right?
Yeah,
like,
it did pretty good.
And it was
critically,
and it's another weird like Disney movie. I don't understand Cruella at all. Like it is such a weird movie to me. But I think that we just have to kind of like just put our hands up this year and be like,
fuck it.
Hope everything works out. And then
hope everything works out there. But again,
get your vaccine so like we can like go do stuff. I don't like.
I totally agree with that.
Because
But
someone sent me a picture of their Jungle Cruise screening, and they were the only person in the theater.
oh
So
yeah,
like, you know what I mean? I
totally.
don't like know what to do. And if I has Jungle Cruise embargoes lifted, right?
Yeah, it's getting okay reviews. It's getting
Yeah,
like
I liked it. Like
yeah,
it is Pirates of the Caribbean, but that thing.
yeah.
Like it's exactly the same thing, right? And it's almost like to the T, like the same thing. So if you like that first Pirates of the Caribbean movie and you like Dwayne Johnson, you love it. And it's a great like family movie. It would have killed at the box office, I think.
Totally. But you know what I think
But
is going to really break out this year, though? You know what movie I think is going to really break out? It's one I actually saw early. I think it's Free Guy. I hope to God it does because I actually saw it early, and I gotta tell you, man, I fucking love the movie. Free Guy is fucking spectacular, and I hope and thank God they didn't do the premiere access thing for that one. It's gonna be a 45-day window thing, same with Shang Chi. That will just so like I think this premiere access thing will be behind them, but I just hope it does well, man. I really hope it does
yeah,
well.
I wonder if they shorten the 45-day window at some point too, because like honestly, like who goes to a movie a month out?
Yeah, who
Like
does?
especially in the summertime, right? Like you're
Yeah,
not going like
because like the
uh,
shelf life for like movies in theaters is
it's
about
like
like 3 to 4 weeks.
two, if that, like if
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's only
Um,
like on like rare occasions when it has like very good legs, like John Wick
yeah, I
or
guess you can make a special like in game or something where people are
yeah,
like seeing it for
or
2 months
Detective
or
Pikachu
whatever.
actually had pretty good legs as well. That one as well.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out because I mean, if people didn't show up for Black Widow and if people don't show up for Jungle Cruise,
Well, I will see, man. We'll see. But I think the real winner of 2021's box office is honestly Universal. Like they've actually had a pretty good counter program thing because I was talking with my buddy Chancey last week about the 2021 box office that I think Universal is going to sweep up this year. Fast and the Furious, The Purge Forever, Boss Baby 2, Halloween Kills. They've actually been pretty modest successes. I think they're probably like the main competitor to Disney. It's not Warner Brothers. It's Universal versus Disney.
which is weird too because I think Boss Baby was it went on
Went on
Paramount
Peacock. Peacock.
Peacock, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's how we
that's
watched it.
Universal streaming service.
I know that because I it
You
played
have it.
for
You're embarrassed to have it.
2 weeks around our house.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So yeah. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't think anybody knows. I think that's the problem. And
Who knows?
and I think I do. And unfortunately, it does sound like the way to the future is streaming,
Oh,
and
yikes.
movies are going to be like this
Oh,
niche thing.
I don't
And
want that.
I know
I
we
hate
don't
that.
want that, but like look at Netflix, right? Like so
Oh,
they did Army of the Dead
oh,
on Netflix, right? And then they had it play in theaters too. So you're gonna have
yeah,
your opportunity to do that. Like there'll be like one theater, I don't know, in your area that'll play theater.
yeah,
But I it if we keep getting like who knows, like you know what I mean, like if we keep getting viruses and shit, like we're never gonna be able to go
yeah.
outside ever again. So
Yeah.
I
And
don't know.
speaking of Netflix, did you hear the news that Stuber, the head of Netflix, is going for fucking Christopher Nolan? Like after like that whole
Oh yeah,
like
they don't give a fuck. Like but that's the end. Netflix has like F me money.
FU money, right?
No, they have F me money. They have so much money they can tell themselves to fuck off. Like I don't like they just like they can just throw money at the problem and filmmakers get on board. And again, now that they have these little like pocket theaters, they
Yeah,
can entice him with that. You know what
yeah,
I mean? They can say,
totally.
"Hey, we can give you like a fucking 6 month run. We own
Yep.
the theater. We're not
There you
showing
go. The
anything else."
Paramount board.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I do think Netflix is going to be hard to compete with. I think Amazon's going to be hard to compete with coming up soon
Yeah,
because they have unlimited money, and Disney and Warner Brothers and those guys don't.
yeah. It's crazy, man. Like again, I feel like Disney will be like in third place, but I'm not sure about like Peacock and fucking Paramount Plus, Apple. And again, I love Apple TV Plus. I think out of all the streaming services, like that one's the best one to me. And like Disney also has Hulu, which I think they've done a pretty good job with as well. Like I think they merged the FX and Hulu things. I think they've done a great job on that. Like I think that, but I really worry, like just by God about the other ones. Like I worry about HBO Max. I worry about Peacock, and it's just are they gonna like I think like what's going to happen to them? There's only going to be like 5 streaming services owned by like 5 big companies, and it's just I really worry, man. It's crazy. As a filmmaker myself, who's working on a lot of projects in the industry, it keeps me awake at night, man.
Well, I mean, I don't think they would ever go away. I think they'd basically have to go free to play.
Yeah,
We'll call it free to play.
free to play.
You know what I mean? Because I mean that you see this in the gaming space too. Like, right? These massive ongoing games come out initially for $60,
Yep.
and eventually, a year down the road, 2 years down the road, they're just free to play.
Yeah.
And because they're making all their money off of like the extras. So that's what I mean. That's why I would assume. I don't think it would ever go away because I don't think streaming is ever going away. I do think that they're going to have to consolidate. Like I do think like Amazon, Sony now, right? So
No, actually, Amazon owns MGM now. So like, there was actually like two big mergers that happened this year. It was a Discovery and Time Warner one, and the MGM and Amazon one. So actually, I actually want to get your opinions on the Discovery Warner Brothers merger thing for a quick second. What do you think about that? Because I actually have a lot more positive things to say about it than like most people do. Because what does David Zaslav from Discovery know about the film business? And I'm like, dude, this guy knows talent relationships, something that J.C. Clark didn't do, which is why like that Zack Snyder thing kind of blew up in their face because it just I don't know. Anyway, but we'll get into that in a bit there. But yeah, what are your opinions on that? On those?
I don't know. I don't know the what's his name? Zelek?
David Zaslav.
Zaslav. I'm not very familiar with Zaslav, and I mean the Discovery Channel. I don't even know what they really play. I get it's still like the same like nature.
They make a lot of like content you've heard of, and it's kind of crazy. And they actually have like a pretty solid subscriber base for their thing. So I think in the long run, it's kind of like a Hulu and Disney situation where it's going to help boost HBO Max's subscription service revenue in a way. So we'll see, man.
I do think. Well, to your point, I do think that any executive that's taking over one of these streaming services where content matters, where the content is the key.
Mm-hmm.
They need to have a sense of what that content brings to the company and how destroying what makes that content special is going to ultimately destroy that content. So you can't just like you cannot replace Kevin Feige. You cannot do it. Like if you do it, it has to be Louis Esposito, right? It's going to have to be Louis Esposito, or it's going to have to be. Oh my god,
you know what? I think it actually be a pretty good head of the company. Actually, have you ever heard of Nate Moore?
No.
Nate Moore is like a head producer on a lot of like the biggest MCU films. Like he was a head producer.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, any people that's working under Feige now is that's the only people who would even be remotely acceptable. You could not bring anyone in from the outside.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's you're imploding. It's automatic implosion.
Yeah, totally.
So I don't know, like and I think every CEO has to know that. And yeah, you look at Discovery and people want to say, "Oh, he's going to bring back the Snyderverse."
Mr. S, you're gonna, he shall not be named.
Yeah. But the problem is if you look at post Snyder, and I'm not trying to attack Snyder, and I'm not trying to attack his fans.
It's fine. It's totally
okay. It's fine. But let's look at the post Snyder. Yeah. The reviews have done nothing but go up. I'm 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. 99%.
Yeah.
Post Snyder is not the Kevin. Oh my god,
Kevin Tsujihara.
He was the person running that stuff. Jeff Johns was the person running that stuff, right? So those were the people, and John Berg.
John Berg, yeah. John Berg. So those the Three Stooges. The Three Stooges.
So those were the people that were in charge of that universe. When they were removed, essentially, from their executive positions or overseeing roles or whatever, I'm sure there was other executives involved. When they were removed and Emmerich and Hamada stepped up, it changed. So we can't keep comparing the Snyder era to what is happening now because it's not the same people involved.
Yeah,
and that's what kind of pisses me off about this whole like Ayer situation is like everyone's like, oh, James Gunn was given like freedom, and all these directors are all saying how much freedom they got. It's, yeah, because there's different people in charge.
Yeah,
like,
and honestly, way
what
more
part of we?
competent people.
And I know, like, again, people want to blame like Hamada for not apologizing to Ray Fisher and whatever. And I know, again, we still don't know the story there, and I don't think we ever will. And I still don't understand why Hamada needed to apologize to Ray Fisher for impeding any investigation or whatever. But Hamada had nothing to do with the creative side of Justice League.
Yeah.
So despite how you feel about his Ray Fisher situation, he had nothing to do with the creative side of any of that stuff, of Justice League, of Snyder's vision, of any of that stuff. And everything he's done post that has been a kind of a massive success for them.
Yeah,
right?
totally. I totally agree with that. This isn't like Sony where like you have like the same people like over and over again. Like it's like this was like a whole new regime there, you know?
Right. And so I don't see the new guy coming in. Sorry, I'm so bad with names. I work at a job where I get phone calls and I talk to 100 people and I get 100 names all day.
It's okay, buddy. It's cool. Like, you're a busy guy.
Yeah. So I don't see him coming in and going back to an era where they weren't that successful. So I don't really understand why people think that he's going to come back and just kind of reform everything. And then also they keep want to bring up, well, the multiverse. Like, you can have 5 Batmans or blah blah blah. We're going to see it, right? We're going to see it with Keaton and stuff.
Totally.
But that's not what they're doing. That's not the multiverse they're doing, and people need to kind of understand that. Like, the multiverse they are creating is a diverse multiverse of characters. So, like, yes, we could have multiple Superman, but they're not all going to be like white Clark Kents from 2020 who all work at, you know what I mean? They're not all going to be the same version. Like, they're all going to be wildly different, you know what I mean? And you can see that happening now. You can see that happening with Constantine, right? So what do they do? Like, they're making a Constantine HBO show, and they like rip that role away from poor Matt Ryan on Legends of Tomorrow. Like, you know, like, so they're not in the game of making a bunch of the same characters together. They want to do a bunch of they want to do a bunch of different versions of Batman. You know what I mean? They want to have like old man Batman. Maybe they'll have like Dick Grayson Batman. You know, or you know what I mean? Like, so they're not going to do Bruce Wayne 5 times.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree with that. So anyway, that kind of gets into like I think our main discussion of this is that like who is really like, should fans be entitled to what they want, or is it like or should it be like a control of the creators there? Because I feel like over the past couple of years, I feel like we've had this like really toxic shift where I think the fans have kind of just say, we're the ones paying for everything, we decide what they want, but they also want creative freedom, and it's kind of like in this like really stupid paradox. It's like you want one thing, but you're like leading to another thing, and it's just sort of like what do you guys want? Do you want creative stuff, or do you just want the same old thing over again that's pretending to be different and stuff like that? I get so infuriated by it, and then I'm just like, oh my god. I mean, like, not all of it's good, but it's just, you know, like, two things can't be right at once, right? Not all the time. And it's I
think the main problem is it's a disillusion of social media. Like, I without Twitter or Facebook or Vero or whatever, I don't care whatever thing you talk shit on. It's not gonna. It wouldn't. I mean, without all that stuff, these discussions would never happen. I mean, not even be like face to face between people, like, right? You know what I mean? Like, because I don't think ultimately what would matter is the data, right? So that's all that matters. Just the data is the data is the data, and social media and all these other things that can be manipulated are not data. Like, right? You can just because we do a hashtag campaign. So let's hold a hashtag campaign, right? And there's 100 of us who are dedicated to the hashtag campaign. If we do that hashtag 10,000 times, you know what I mean? Like, if each 100 of us hashtag something 10,000 times, is that a representation of the fandom, or is that just like us spamming a hashtag and manipulating the system, saying, look how many hashtags this got. Totally. Look how many. You know what I mean? Or it's the same thing with like Rotten Tomatoes. Like, and this is sorry, I am biased, so yes, I am very much on the
man. Go crazy.
I'm on the critic side. Are all critics professionals? Are all? No, I won't say that. Are all critics professionals? I don't know. Are all critics great? Probably not. Should everyone that is a critic be a critic? Probably not.
Yeah.
But the reason Rotten Tomatoes is a good kind of indication of a general consensus of critics is because there's so much data going in, right? Mm-hmm. There's so much input going in there, and we can get a general. You don't have to read 200 reviews. You can get a general consensus. So yes, should you go in and read individual reviews? Should you find people that you have sensibility with and then say, this person has my taste, we agree on a lot of things, so I'm going to take their opinion over someone else's? Yes, you should do that. But if you're looking for the data, if you're looking for something that says, I need to know if this movie is worth investing in the future, the critical response is going to be your best indication of that. So those numbers do matter. And so when audiences go in and like bomb, like and this is a perfect example with the Kevin Smith thing, right? Yeah. So Masters of the Universe happened. It's fantastic. I'm admittedly not a He-Man fan. I don't care about the character, but I found the show very engaging, and I like what they did because I don't think He-Man's boring. So like, go nuts.
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
Am I making you mad, Henry? I'm sorry.
No, dude, I don't care, man. Dude, you're like awesome. You're making me happy, man. I love it so much.
So and he basically came back and said, "Oh no, like Netflix, like they're review bombing, like Rotten Tomatoes, like the audience score is plummeting." He's like, "Dude, we know, like they do this, like don't worry about it, like." We have 210 million subscribers. Like we can see how many people are watching it, and that is the point, right? So that's the point. The numbers matter. So it doesn't matter what stupid fans say. It's never going to matter. It's never going to matter how loud you are.
Because they didn't want to like it in the first place because of like some stupid like SJW bullshit, which is like not there. Like this whole like anti-woke stuff to me is so stupid because it's just. It's like a denial of like what stuff like means there, like stuff that has meaning. And like there was this like one guy I had so much respect for said this to me, and he said, "Oh, look it, you see, like woke stuff is for like niche like audiences that don't actually matter." And I'm like saying, that's just you just like play.
How much did Captain Marvel make again?
Made $1 billion, and he said, "Oh," like, he said, like, "Oh, like all this stuff about like people of color, like women, that stuff is just niche stuff. It shouldn't be in the mainstream." And it's just like, what the fuck are you talking about? That is like the dumbest take I have ever heard. And that's somebody I respect. I'm not going to name who he is. He's not on the stream. I haven't talked to him in like years, but that type of thinking has poisoned geek culture in a way that I think it's becoming non-welcoming to people, and I think that's going to destroy it, man. I think our lack of confronting that has been a big issue, and I really hope the next couple of years we kind of like stand up to this like toxic, fandom madness bullshit because it's not good. Yeah. I think it's really stupid.
I think I like James Gunn. James Gunn kind of handles it the best. Yeah, because he kind of upfront about it. But again, like. So let's go with David Ayer's statement yesterday. God damn, like I just can't, like, it's like they don't read things, like, right? Like, of course, David got it all out there. Yes, he had his situation. It sucked. The movie he had was taken from him in the editing room. It happens. Let's be clear, everybody. This happens. This is a story every single director has had at one point in their career. The movie was taken from them in the editing room, or they went in with a script and it got changed during filming, or they had to do reshoots because it didn't test well, or whatever. Like these things happen all the time. And the only reason we even talk about it now is because of the Snyder Cut. That's the only reason. This was never a discussion until that situation. Yeah. The blame for all this kind of toxic fandom falls on WB because at the end of the day, they could have got a 3-hour cut out of that movie that would have satisfied everybody.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't be in this mess at all. So I don't like, and even with the air, I don't think anyone would have cared. Yeah. Like no one would have cared about the Ayer cut. And this is another thing that people continue to ignore about the Ayer cut and the Ayer cut situation. It's completely different. It is apples and oranges to what happened to Snyder, right? Snyder had a tragedy happen, had to step away. They took the film from him. Yeah. They ripped it from his hands. They forced another director on it. They forced new writing on it. They forced a new edit on it, a mandate of 2 hours on it, right? They forced all these things on it. and they did not let him back into that situation, and he didn't want back into it, right? So
Totally.
they took it from him. They physically ripped it from his fingers. That is not what happened to Air. Air was there the entire time. Air did all the reshoots. Air, the script was not great from day one. This has come out multiple times. The cast had seemed to not have a great experience with other cast members. This came out multiple times. Recently, Joel Kinnaman, I get that right. Yeah. He came out and said, "Dude, Air's version was a mess from day one. Like, we didn't know what we were doing. Like, we had a script that was written in 6 weeks. Like, they didn't have an ending. We reshot the ending. That was before we had to go back and fix it." Mm-hmm. And again, so we can't say, "Oh, Air deserves this and that." No, what happened to Air happens to everybody, and it just happens.
Yeah, it does happen, man. And again, I don't want to be a Hollywood shill or anything like that, because I don't want to be. But look, sometimes talents and agencies don't work out there. Now, we have to have good negotiating power, like the ScarJo thing. But I think we're like very much. I think a lot of the people talking about the film industry don't know what the fuck's going on in the film industry, and I think that's part of the problem. And there's all this like bullshit misinformation that's not really true, and it keeps spreading like wildfire over and over and over again. And we get these like stupid channels like fucking the Midnight's Edge, Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, or the fucking other people that are just spewing out bullshit that's not fucking true, because they don't fucking check their sources and they don't fucking know what they're talking about most of the time, because it's just people that are like far removed from the situation and yet are too invested in the situation at the same time. So it's just all just this like circle jerk of bullshit, Well,
yeah, they're pandering to a base, and they're making money, and that's fine. I'm not against anyone hustling, right? I'm not against anyone making money. Go make your money. To do what you need to do, like sell your scoops, like do a Patreon, do a YouTube channel, like whatever. Go for it. Like, I don't care. Sell your shit. Don't lie to people. Don't manipulate people. Don't spread hate speech and harassment. Don't these are just common sense decency things, and it's I don't think. I think it's kind of lost in that crowd, and you look at I know I harp on this group a lot. We look at the kind of like the motion comic Lightcast fucking.
Okay, I was wondering when you were to get to this.
Culture nerd. Well, it's a perfect example of this, right? You look at the situation, and everyone that ever interacted with this group directly raised the red flag multiple times, and not just from people like me who, yes, I will admit, I do poke the Snyder Cut fandom, because I just think it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, man. I poke the Marvel fandom when they like do something really stupid as well, man. Like, there's like one thing where people were cheering about this review, like this review got removed because it was a negative review for Loki, and I really like Loki, but that's bullshit. I think fans need to call that out. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, and I think anytime you take this shit too seriously, I'm done with you. Like, we're beyond. And again, anytime you're still funding it, right? Like, we are the people who fund this stuff. So the minute you stop funding it, or the minute it stops making money, it stops. So if you don't want if you want the Snyderverse to come back, stop talking about DC stuff. Stop talking. Shut up. You know what I mean? Like, stop. Even the bad stuff. Like, it's all good to them. It all brings them like eyes and ears, and it all brings them money. And and I guarantee you, like, no, Suicide Squad is a perfect example of this, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's getting so much blowback from a very small corner of that particular fan group. Or I'll say one of the more toxic, or I hate using that word because it's so stupid.
Yeah.
One of the more like vile.
Toxic and fun are like the most overused words.
Because what is toxic? I get called toxic all the time. I'm toxic because I call you a fucking dipshit. Like, I don't like, that's not toxic. It means just fucking talking shit. Like, you're a dipshit. Like, what do you want from me? Like, it's not me being toxic. Like, toxic is like if I were to like, I don't know, threaten your family, or like I don't know, like threaten your
people like Film Gop have done to like not Film Gop, but like some people
make memes with guns to your head, or like I don't know, like make videos with people fucking blowing you up, or like, like that's toxic, like shit, like acts of violence, that's toxic.
Mixing up words that you haven't actually
but just talking shit, like talk shit to me, I don't care, call me a cunt, I'm sorry. Call me like names, whatever. I'll go back and forth with that. I don't like. It's not. But the minute you start saying, well, you should fucking die, and you don't like the minute you just start, and the minute you start just spewing out, like I think spewing out like falsities is more toxic than just talking shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? You just start spewing out things that aren't factual. Yeah, that's more toxic because what you're doing is you're just spreading bullshit, and it keeps these people like hopes up because there are genuine people who listen to that stuff who think it's going to happen, right, and who are excited about it, and then who get extremely disappointed when it doesn't happen. And again, I go back to the Lightcast and the Culture Nerd. They have this whole fandom of people who they duped into all this stuff happening, and none of it happened. None of it. Not a single thing, right? Yeah. And then they fucking and then after nothing that they talked about ever like materialized, and then they decided to put them in charge of like this thing that admittedly could have been extremely like cool and exciting for the fandom and closure maybe for the fandom. You know what I mean? For some people at least. Yeah. Nope. Yeah, but no one fucking learns anything, and we have to just understand that like just because someone's telling you the truth does not mean they're the fucking bad guy.
I totally agree with you, man. I just and like I don't think we actually know what the fucking truth is, honestly, these days. It's so middle. It's so like there's such a gray zone in between it all, you know, like there's just so much like in this geek culture world that's so like in the middle, and it's just like it's like absolutes, you know. You either support Disney or you hate them, or you just it's like there's not a middle ground there, and it's really disturbing, man. It really sucks there. And I want to get to another topic here that I think you're going to be very fiery on, which is fake fucking scoopers. So, buddy, this whole thing, I know I'm giving you a lot to chew on. All right, I know I'm not as entertaining as Andy Signore, but
I'm gonna be honest. I think Andy's a fine guy. I like Andy, but I don't always agree with Andy. So but yeah, I think we can agree on this thing that like scooping culture is very shitty. It's shitty. It's shitty thing that shouldn't even be a thing. Like it's not even like it's stupid. Like okay, so like we found out who like an actor is in a movie. Okay, or you know,
this is how the superhero movie New Sausage is made, folks.
Yeah, it's just so like arbitrary to like the bigger picture of the world, and people get so like invested in it to the point where like there's like
read things out of context, and it's like it's a fucking mess.
To the things are like tracking lists, and poor Charles Murphy, because I like Charles a lot, and he's a great guy. And I feel so bad for the guy because I mean I give him probably the most credit, and if I could be as on the spot and fucking accurate as he was and as like prolific as he is with this stuff, I'd be super stoked. I'm not even close.
Hey man, you can't win them all, man.
I know, but that's the thing. I don't even try. Like, you know what I mean? It's just me talking to people, and then these things come up. You know what I mean? I'm not out here like on the grind. I'm not like searching through LLCs.
You're not like Scoop McGee, like he's like behind the Warner Brothers one, the dumpster. You know?
Yeah. No. I'm not
scoops.
I'm not doing that. I mean, I made a few friends. They tell me stuff once in a while, and I, you know, I mean, we get lucky. I've been doing this a long time.
On here, sir? Just kidding.
No, I don't have. I mean, if I had something, I would totally. I thought about something that I totally forgot. I mean, I don't remember, but I don't know. I just don't. It's not something that like I'm going like striving out to like hunt down. But my issue, I guess, is with this prolific this idea that number one, these people are like quote unquote like famous, or that you're gonna get some like notoriety or fame from this stuff. It's really kind of troubling to me. And again, I think there's always like a batting average you should take into account when you're looking at who and what is a scooper. I just hate that term at all.
Scooper, Scoops McGee, Scoops McGee.
So weird. But I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of bad ones out there, and the bad ones, they're easy to come by. Like they're easy to call out, and nobody calls them out, and nobody says anything. I know we should just ignore it and look away. But
that's bullshit. That
never
the
problem works. The problem is they get this following of people. Those following of people go like spread around their bullshit. that bullshit gets to us, and then we have to go like hunt this around and like go, oh wait, what are you talking?
I
No,
think a great
no.
example of that was like the Robert Pattinson stuff, man. And the Rise of Skywalker stuff. It was all Doomcock saying, "Oh, shiny Pattinson it had made out with the lady from I don't know. God, I should know. It's not
Zoe
like
Kravitz.
Zoe Kravitz on the Batmobile. What's gonna happen? She's pregnant, blah blah blah. And like these fucking like dumb sites report that.
And I don't know, yeah, and I don't again. I just don't know how those sites have followings. Still, I don't know like why people. I guess it is. And the only, again, we goes back to like why do these sites have followings? Hate speech. It all comes down to hate speech. Even when you go back to like Lightcast and the Culture Nerd, the reason that people believe them and the reason that people would follow them and follow their example is because they propagated this like lie and would harass people and get their followers to harass people to propagate the lie. Like,
Yeah.
and they would do it on their podcast, their YouTube shows, and they would do it in social media, and they would do it like privately. Like, you know what I mean? Like they would go after me in podcasts. They would go after John. Oh my gosh.
Campea, like why the fuck do people go after John Campea? Like I'm sorry, dude. Like John Campea is like honestly one of the best like fucking like movie people in the world. And he gets shit on a daily basis because like he's like mainstream and there's like this us versus them bullshit. It's like, dude, like most of these like streamers are like regular people. They're not like celebrities. They're just people. You know, unless you like work for like ET or like Variety or something like that. But like a lot of them are like forthcoming, nice people that just
Yeah, they're just trying to make a living, again, it just goes back to like a batting average. Like I feel so bad for Charles. Charles will get 100 things right in a row. 100, no joke, 100 things. He'll get one thing fucking wrong and just, poof. And it's like everybody just jumps on him. It's like, what are you guys? And I go back to my example. So like again, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I got some things right and I got some things wrong. So I said, hey,
you're actually right on that. Actually, like I know people that said like they had a virus problem, but they actually had to remove it because of like reasons. And
yeah, so things fucking change. And when we hear shit sometimes a year ahead of time, 2 years. I've heard about Shimogarath. I heard about him in 2019. Like, you know what I mean? Like I heard about him when Derrickson was like attached. Like he was always part of that movie. Like they, you know what I mean? You know how Marvel fucking concept shit way ahead of time. Like he was always part of that movie. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but sometimes that shit doesn't take. It takes fucking a year or 2 years to fucking
materialize.
There's the word I'm looking for. Materialize because Marvel's so fucking good at hiding that stuff. Like the Alfred Molina stuff. I never thought we were going to hear about that. You know what I mean?
Totally.
I think the only reason we did.
We'll get into some more Marvel news in a little bit here, but I don't want to be like just kissing Marvel's ass here. I mean, they do a couple things. They do a lot of things right. They do a couple things wrong there, but I feel like everybody thinks they have an into the game thing, but I just feel like when everybody's a scooper, no one's a scooper, and when everybody's like a fucking filmmaker, podcaster, you're going to get a lot of garbage. And a lot of people, even my friends, I would admit, are not very good at like covering movie news. Like I'm not going to name names, but some of them just aren't good at it. And I just feel like they're just spreading dumb information out there to the audience that's not true. And I worry about that a lot. It's kind of like, this like rant that John Campion made a couple years back in 2015 where he said, like all these mainstream publicists were saying, you're going to see no integrity of journalism because all these people are going to like have the floodgates of like bullshit news there. And guess what? That's what happened. Like the prophecy was fulfilled, And
hopefully, like I said, I guess hopefully when it comes to these situations, the chickens come home to roost at some point, right? And we get again a Lightcast. I keep going back to them, but we get a Lightcast or TCN situation where there's like, or where they're finally exposed, and we can be like, all right, we're done now. Can we all move on to like something else? Like, can we all stop pretending like there's a Cyborg series in the work and David Ayer's cut's coming this year?
And again, I want to believe those, but like I gotta face facts, man. Again, like,
exactly, and that's why I would tell people too. It's like people would be like, why are you shitting on them? Why are you fucking going after them? Like they're telling the truth. They have sources. Like they were right about the Snyder Cut. Okay. Again, the only thing people ever bring back to me is that I was wrong about the Snyder Cut. That is the only thing people ever throw in my face is the fucking Snyder Cut shit. Snyder didn't fucking know about the Snyder Cut a month before it was fucking happening. So like everyone doesn't fucking, no one fucking knew that shit was gonna happen. You know what I mean? So like, don't pull that shit fucking on me.
Yeah.
So I lost track.
That's okay. It's okay, buddy. It's cool. This has been so fun, man. I've been loving this episode, man. It's been wonderful. I like it. I like it so much. Yeah.
Good, good. Sorry, I don't know. I was totally ranting. I totally forgot what I was talking about. Hopefully chickens come home to roost, right? And these people get exposed, and we can wipe our hands clean of them, and we don't have to fucking deal with them anymore. But then again, you see sites like we got this covered. It's fucking everything. It's everything.
And Inception 2 coming.
Yeah, and it's like, oh fuck, like it's stuff like, and don't get me wrong, that too. Like I could definitely put out a scoop every week. But it's going to be fucking stuff. It's going to be obvious stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we all write the obvious thing that we know is going to happen and call it a fucking scoop. Like, or, you know what I mean? Or we can fucking all just make up shit and get a bunch of clicks and just turn our backs and not fucking respond to it, which is what like people like the Sutton guy do and like We Got This Covered do. Or they just like twist and turn. Like they'll write a scoop, something will happen. And then there'll be something like it'll be like one little word that they said in their scoop. They're like, "Oh, see, it's confirmed." It's like, "What? What are you talking about?" Yeah. Grace is another one that's like, "What are you talking?" Like the fucking Birds of Prey thing is a perfect example. Yeah, there was a test screening where it had a different plot about the diamond. It was not fucking pedophilic. It was not fucking like this gross thing that she made it out to be. It was literally a fucking picture of his fucking statue or something. Like it was so stupid. And then they changed it to make it more sensible. Like it's kind of a dumb plot. Like why would he care? Like yes, you want to show that the character is so vain that he doesn't want this thing getting out into the public and it could ruin his reputation or whatever. But having it be a code for like a mob billions is a much more like in line thing with the story, right? And I don't think anybody really cares that much. Which more is egregious to me is that they took out a lot of the fucking homosexuality in the film.
Yeah,
that's kind of nobody talks about.
I really love the Bird the Prey movie, but I would agree with that. That is kind of
he was as far as, and then again, this is totally a rumor, and I this is from early test screenings, but apparently Black Mask was much more gay in the original version, which is a shame because again I think that character was played great, and I think it would have been played much better if it was more egregious in his homosexuality. But whatever.
Yeah,
it's a good movie. It's great. I don't think it was hurt. I don't think it was like tarnished or or Kathy Yon needs to like release the Yon cut over like what was essentially a successful film, right? So yeah, I'm getting like headed. I'm talking so much.
It's cool, man. You're doing great here. So yeah, man. I'm glad you got that out of your system twice. You know, you did it on Andy's stream, and you did it on here, and again, I really this has been such. This has been an episode I want to do for quite a while because I haven't really had my finger on it because I've been so out of the loop and I'm really new to this whole like internet game thing. I'm like a filmmaker, I'm a podcaster, I'm trying to find my footing there, and like after I had my data breached like in 2020, like I was doing this for a year, but then I had to like shut it off for a couple months because I was worried that all my information was going to get out and someone was blackmailing me at the time as well. I shouldn't be saying this out loud, but you know, I was like really worried. And then when I came back, I wanted to like get out there and see the things there. And these past episodes, I've really gotten into like a lot of the stuff I wanted to get into, like the state of the superhero genre, the box office for the future. And, this episode, like the bullshit clickbait scoopers and the toxicity of geek culture in a lot of areas. And I really, it's been really great getting this out of the system there so I can finally kind of put this ease to rest and, enjoy the stuff I want to enjoy finally again. Because, again, I love a lot of the stuff coming out. I just feel like the culture around it has sort of suffocated my hype for it because everybody's got their opinions and it's just fine. But I just feel like a lot of it is just like overbearing in a way that's just so.
It's weird. I guess it's fucking like what was that old hashtag like first world problem. Like it's totally a first world problem. Like nobody in fucking any other like third world country is having these conversations because
I know,
like they have
like a little bitch, and I understand
real fucking shit going on. And no, it's not even to say it's a fandom in general, right? You know what I mean? Like it's like. Yeah. Go and I hate the touch grass thing. I think it's so stupid, but like number one, there's a much bigger picture of things happening that you're just totally not even oblivious. Like you're just oblivious to.
Yeah,
You have no idea what's
I would
happening.
agree
Like,
with that.
again, we'll go back to the James Gunn Suicide Squad situation and why everyone's like, well, why did he get full creative freedom? Why wasn't fucking WB down his neck? Why weren't they messing with him in the editing room? Blah, 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 blah. Because James Gunn is a massively successful director. Like they don't fucking go to Nolan and they don't go, hey, Christopher Nolan, we're gonna come in here and fuck with your film. Like they don't. Like you have to earn that. And as much as people want to say Zack Snyder earned that, I don't think he did. Obviously, he didn't because the Man of Steel and BVS underperformed according to their expectations, right? And I don't think, David Ayer certainly didn't. Like, right? He doesn't. David Ayer has not earned like the right to go walk into a studio and say, "Give me what I want and give me $200 million." It's like, you know what I mean? Like, and as harsh as that sounds, like it's with the way the studios feel, and they're the ones fronting the bill. So until you're a billionaire, or I guess until you're a billionaire, and you want to front the bill for a $250 million movie out of your own pocket, like shut the fuck up.
Yeah, totally.
I don't like. Agree, man. Again, if like, and then we'll take multiple situations, right? So let's say I don't care who if you say the opposite to this, you're fucking lying. If I'm giving you 250, if you as a filmmaker, Henry, I'm just going to give you $250 million. I'm going to say this. I have 10 people who are going to give you $10 million. All
right.
Okay? 10 people, $10 million each of us. So you have a $100 million film. You can do a lot with $100 million.
I'm very terrified of this. I'm like,
you can do a lot with $100 million for a film, right? Like you can make a pretty good like action.
If I fuck it up, that's on me.
So when we start the fucking process, you're a first time filmmaker, or not even. We'll say you have an indie film under your belt.
Yeah,
it did good at like Cannes.
2 indie films under my belt.
Yeah, you're starting to rise up, but not quite there. So we're gonna give you. There's 5 executives. We'll give. I would say this. We'll give you. There's 5 executives. We're gonna each give you $20 million.
All right.
And it's a franchise, right? We're giving you like a shot of a franchise, right?
All right.
So it's not like a huge comic book movie, but maybe like I don't know, like Micronauts or something stupid.
How about Felipe the Dancing Microphone Part 3? How about
that? Sure. Yeah. It's a franchise film, so like this is like. It can make something that can make a lot of money, right? Yeah. We have the potential to make billions of dollars here, whether it's beyond sequels or merchandising, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
Do you expect me to give the 5 of us to give you $20 million and just walk away?
No. I as somebody that's actually worked in the industry, I would say.
Okay, so are you cool if like we give notes on the script and like if like
totally. I mean,
what about casting? Can we like have someone say in the casting and all that stuff?
I could see that. I mean, again, it all
And,
depends.
like, don't get me wrong. Like, you're the director. Like we're gonna you wrote the script. We love it. Like we like there's some like of course like we have to like. Maybe we have to, it's a little long. You know what I mean? This is for a kid's movie. Like we could probably cut it down to like I don't know, like not 90 minutes, but maybe
let's say like 20 pages. Shave off 20 pages.
Yeah. Let's cut. I mean, you say 15. Say 15. Okay. And, and we can go back in the editing room if we need to cut off just to be safe. You know what I mean? We'll film it just in case. But like we need to make some changes here. And yeah, so. Go off, make the movie. We'll come back in like a week, check in, see how dailies are looking, see where we're at, and then we'll go from there. So at any point, do you expect the studios just fucking walk away and just be like, "Go do your thing, guy. You have not proven yourself. Like, you don't. Like, you can't. No investor would do that. And it's not even have to be a movie. I mean, you can be making fucking hamburgers. Like again, I'm going to buy a Chick-fil-A franchise, right?
All right.
Okay. And this is me investing my own money, right? So I'm going to pay $20 million for a Chick-fil-A franchise. They're gonna give me all the stuff. They're gonna give me like all the ingredients. They're gonna train all the employees. Blah blah blah. They're gonna do everything for me. I just have to sit back and run their like plan and make the money, right? I can't come in and start making hamburgers at their Chick-fil-A. Like they own the Chick-fil-A. They own the property. It's their Superman, right? Like their chicken sandwich, they got Superman chicken sandwich. They got Batman Chicken Deluxe. Like, I can't go in and start throwing like burgers out and say, well, I'm going to add fucking
Yeah.
the Thundercat in here. I don't know.
Totally. I totally
So,
agree with
like,
that. My one caveat to that though is like it depends on like who you're working with, because if people you're working with are like fucking like doing stuff on the fly to the point where they're just like not organized, I would say yeah, you should probably leave that one. But for the most part, a lot of like people like like Chuck Roven from like Warner Brothers,
right.
that guy is a good producer. Like Toby Emmerich, for the most part, like seems like a pretty okay producer. He's not terrible. Like if it was like Avi Arad, I'd be like, yeah, I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, again, it's all about track record, right? And it's all about
it's all you like work
it's
with.
all about the critic response, and then the box office.
Yeah,
And that's the data you have, and outside of that, it really doesn't matter because people could say they hate a movie, but if they're seeing the movie and they're paying for the movie, you don't hate it that much,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Like Venom. Like I didn't really like Venom that much. I'm sorry.
Right? Yeah, but you still saw it, and you're gonna go see the next one.
Yeah,
right?
probably not.
No,
Probably
you
not.
are. You're lying.
I don't know about that. I'll probably check out.
All right, I mean, so maybe so, but then again, if you don't see the next one, you're telling them you don't want any more Venom, right? So
yeah,
then we're not going to get a number 3.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So like, you can't like, you got to pay with your wallet. So if we keep giving Warner Brothers, if their movies keep making money and they keep generating 99% on Rotten Tomatoes, that is fucking I don't think anyone understands how insane that is for a DC movie, a Warner Brothers movie, a R-rated movie, and one that is so just fucking off the wall, great. Like James, like they are literally backing up. And I know people, this is gonna piss fucking people off. James Gunn's sticking around DC and Warner Brothers for a while.
I totally agree with
like,
that.
So
and
sorry,
like a wheel towards Marvel. I mean, he's been there for like about like 7 years. You know, he wants to go someplace new there. It's nothing against like. And it's not a DC versus Marvel thing. It's just more like he wants to see a new environment, you know?
And I love my favorite new, like, ridiculous argument. Like, their new boycotting thing is like, well, I can't support James Gunn because of his weird tweets.
God writer.
And I can't support The Flash because Ray Fisher is in it. Okay. I guess the 5 people that aren't going to do that, then that's not going to fucking matter.
Yeah, I'm going to say this though about the Flash. I'm not sure how well it's going to do though, because I at the one hand, it's going to be the Michael Keaton thing will be a big draw, but it also has the Justice League stink as well. So like, I think it will. I'm curious to see how that one goes. Actually, we're talking about that in my last episode about that.
Yeah, I think they need to like be very upfront. Like, I think in fandom they need to be very upfront what that movie is. I think they also, and again, this is what fucking, and we didn't talk about Jim Gordon casting, but I guess we talk about it now.
Actually, we should talk about that right now. Actually, that'd be pretty cool.
We can talk about it now. This is what kind of pisses me off about what Warner Brothers and DC is doing. Is if you're gonna like start like phasing out Cavill, or you're gonna start phasing out Affleck, keep bringing these people back. Don't keep bringing fucking J.K. Simmons back, and don't keep bringing, and then on top of that, why not make the effort to bring Billy Crudup back? Like, you know what I mean? Like
that was his.
It just makes no sense. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, they either need to make a clean break from the Snyderverse and keep the stars, but make it understood that like this is something different. Like, we're doing something different here. But they continue to go back and like reach in that well. And I feel like the only reason they keep doing that is because they want to like
sting. You know what I mean? It's a nice little like sting stuff like there. But getting on to the Barbara Gordon to the Batgirl casting use of J.K. Simmons. I honestly think it's actually pretty good. I think it's pretty interesting. This is movie.
Yeah, it's not nothing against J.K. Simmons, or I don't think he shouldn't get an opportunity to play that role, and I don't think it's fair to him that he got like a scene in either Justice League film or whatever. But if you're Warner Brothers and your message is this is your message, right? We're doing something new. We're not doing that anymore. Then you have to like start cutting those ties, like, you know what I mean, and to continue to reach back. It's because it's confusing, right? So and maybe I'm fucking wrong, but every sign and everyone I've talked to seems to think that Affleck is out after the Flash, and Keaton is coming in to replace him, and even like the filming would indicate that, right? We saw the court scene with Barry back at
how's that shaping up? Do you think Like, do you think is it like have you heard anything? Have you heard great things about it?
I
'Cause
have heard zero about the Flash. Zero. I've heard
yeah,
nothing, which
yeah,
is odd. So
yeah,
they're really keeping it late. Like I got set pics of Black Adam. Like I saw the inside of like Hawkman's ship. Like I've
yeah.
seen like stuff. I've heard stuff about Black Adam. I've heard stuff about.
Is that
I
Henry
heard stuff,
Cavill thing true? Actually, about him being in the movie?
I've not heard anything about Henry Cavill being in the movie. And where
Well,
was
that's
Black
probably
Adam
bullshit.
filming? In Atlanta,
Uh,
right?
I think it's in Atlanta. Yeah, Georgia, Atlanta,
Yeah, I
Georgia.
don't. I mean, I think you could check Henry Cavill's travel logs,
Oh,
and I don't think
geez,
he's.
that sounds
I
kind
don't
of
think he's
stalkerish. I'm good. I'm
been.
good.
Yeah, I don't think he's been to the United States. I think he's in England right now, right?
Yeah, I
Um,
believe so. Yeah,
and again, dude's getting busy. Like this goes back to the Ben Affleck thing, right? And I think that nobody considers like, oh, he's coming back. He's definitely he's going to be in the Flash, and he's going to show up in Batgirl now because J.K. Simmons isn't there. When the fuck is he going to have time? He's not even on the Flash set yet.
he's too busy like writing J Lo.
Yeah, no, not only that, he's got J Lo now, and I don't think she wants him like on a movie set for
Yeah, and plus he has like a bunch of. He also is working with Disney for some
Disney.
reason.
He's got multiple directing gigs, multiple acting gigs
He's
over
got
the
the
next
Max
2 or 3
series
years.
about Batman.
Yeah, I just don't know when he has enough to have time to co-star and keep co-starring or having. I mean, he show up for a cameo here and there, yeah, but then what's the point, right?
Yeah,
What's the point of that? But co-starring or having these like co-starring roles in these, I just don't see how that's happening.
I'm actually kind of curious what he's actually working on, like this thing, because I know
So
he's
how are
like
you working on
busy.
that Disney movie?
Yeah. It's that and like a couple of other
It's
things.
like
There.
Ghost House or something is another one too,
Yeah,
right?
I think it's like a young adult novel here. I'm actually gonna look up here because there is a lot of stuff there. Like he is probably
I looked
working
it
on.
up yesterday because I was
Oh,
like,
also from the Last Duel, directed by Ridley Scott. Which, by the way, Ridley Scott's gonna have a fucking great comeback here. It's
yeah,
gonna be
that
the
that
Last
looks so
Duel,
good.
the
I
Last
mean,
Duel, and Gucci. It's gonna be great. Like, there's been a lot of there's actually been a lot of good onslaught of like original stuff coming out this year. I'm actually gonna go check out Stillwater and Green Knight this
so
weekend.
he's got all the directing. This is just directing, right?
Yeah,
Ghost
no, it's
Army,
starring,
Witness
starring.
for Prosecution, and The Keeper of the Lost Cities. And Keeper of the Lost Cities is that the Disney one, right?
Yeah, so there's like 5 projects he's working on right now. So he's a producer on The Keepers of the Lost City.
And he's writing Keepers of the Lost City as well.
Yep, that's there. So he has like 5 projects he's working on, and not to say that he can't like do like a Flash thing here and there, but I highly doubt that he's gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna just drop all this for the thing there, unless you're like Chris Evans or Chris Hemsworth. I don't really see it there. But yeah, it's gonna be kind of crazy. But speaking for the Batgirl movie itself, I think they got a pretty good pair of directors. They're the guys that did Bad Boys for Life and also Miss Marvel, which I've heard pretty good things about. Like behind the scenes, like that show's really shaping up. It's not going to be released this year because Hawkeye is going to be November. That one, I don't know. But like I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't see Bad Boys yet. I know
Bad
my
Boys
thing.
for Life. It's got really good style there. It's a mix between John Wick and like Michael Bay's style, and I don't think it really flows very well. It's actually probably one of the better legacy sequels that have come out of the past couple of years.
Right. So my I hopefully look and yeah, that's what everyone keeps saying is they're very good action directors. So that's
Yeah.
a good sign. And hopefully with Miss Marvel, and I hope this is, and I know nobody wants to hear this because it's a bad take, I guess. But with how old is Leslie Grace?
Yeah.
How old is
Leslie
she?
Grace is
20,
25,
right?
I believe.
25?
And yeah, there you go. Yep.
So right around Burnside age, right? She could definitely play like a very young Barbara Gordon, like even high school,
Mm-hmm.
right? She could pull off high school
Totally,
maybe.
yeah.
What was the last thing she was in?
She
She
was
played high
in.
schooler.
She was a high schooler. Yeah, she was in
No,
The
no.
Heights, which was like a phenomenal movie. I love that movie. That was actually my favorite film of the
I
year.
know she was in
The
high
Heights.
school, and she was in a high schooler, right?
No, she was actually like post college there. Actually, look up her age here. In The Heights, Leslie Grace. Okay, sorry about that. I hope I'm not looking too unprofessional right there. So Leslie
Oh no, no.
Grace. Okay, Leslie Grace. What? Okay, she's like 26 years old. So
Okay.
I think that
So yeah, so maybe like college, young college, like in college, like not a
yeah.
senior, like sophomore or freshman, young,
Mhm.
but yeah, on the younger side, right? So you're not going to be like this like experienced older Barbara Gordon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't I imagine I think and then people want to we keep saying Batman Beyond, when we
Yeah.
talk about this movie, right?
Wasn't that like a Grace group though?
Huh?
Wasn't that like a Grace group that she like floated around
I think,
couple
I
months?
mean, if we're going to talk about it, I think I was probably the first person who said that's going to be very Batman Beyond esque.
All right,
Um,
that actually doesn't sound very bad at all to me. I think it kind
and,
of fits with, like the director's
and yeah,
style.
let's be clear what it means when we say Batman Beyond, right? Like, I
Yeah.
don't think it's going to be futuristic and we're getting like it's going to be
Mhm.
like an Iron Man suit and all that stuff. I think what the core of this movie is going to be is an
Yeah.
older, experienced, or older Bruce Wayne who can't do it anymore, and he has to he needs to train a replacement,
Yep.
or a replacement has to step in, and for whatever reason, it's Barbara Gordon.
Yep.
And God, I haven't seen Batman Beyond. Did Terry McGinnis just like happen upon the yeah?
I think that's the case there, but yeah,
So yeah, I wonder if he picks Barbara, or like he personally chooses, like he's like she's the one, or if she seeks him out and says like the police. I've seen my dad be a fucking cop for fucking, I don't know, 2 decades. He's it doesn't work. I want to do it your way. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And maybe she's like, maybe there's a story, like maybe it opens with like Batman being injured, right? And there's like a story like
Mhm.
you know what I mean, or she finds out from her dad that he's like been critically injured
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
But I do think if you look at the director's past works so far, I mean, again,
Mhm.
Miss Marvel seems to indicate this, and I know Bad Boys Rise, like you said, is very stylish and colorful. I don't imagine this being like a dark, like I don't imagine this being a Snyder or stylized, like version. I imagine we get a purple suit. You know what I mean? I imagine we
Yeah, I
get
could see that. Yeah, I could totally see
something that's
that.
more akin to like it's not like this armory black and like with the, you know what I mean, like the I don't imagine it's gonna be Gail Simone gritty as well either. You know what I mean? I don't think it's gonna be post like um obviously it's not gonna be post Joker, whatever. She's way too young for that, I would think.
Yeah, I definitely
So I do think it's gonna be much more on the Burn side, like the younger, she's like young hip like girl side. And it sounds so weird. I do think it's gonna have this like mentor aspect to it. So
yeah, totally.
I will see how that shakes out. And I do think it's gonna be very like colorful and stylized.
Yeah,
Like
definitely, totally. All right. I'm actually
so,
want to get some.
but I think the big question is like, how the fuck does J.K. Simmons fit into that? Like, and how does Keaton fit into that too? Right? Like, what happens in the Flash where Keaton ends up in either the DCU proper, the one that's been happening, or is this a new timeline where Keaton like has always been here and he just is kind of like replacing like Affleck in that role for whatever reason? Like maybe at the end of the movie, Barry goes back and saves like Bruce's parents.
Gotcha.
I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, and so then now, or maybe so now maybe I don't. That sounds dumb because he would have just tried to save his mom and fuck this up in the beginning with. I don't know, but we got to figure out a way to transition the two and then still make sense for J.K. Simmons to be there. Like, is Keaton going to be trapped in our universe now?
Again, I don't know.
Or was he always the Batman and everyone remembers him as the Batman and Jim Gordon is his fucking Jim Gordon?
Yeah, totally.
Like, like I don't know. Like, and
I don't know either, man. Again, like we'll need to like know, like we'll see when we like kind of like see the full context of it. But there's actually a couple more stories here I actually want to get into here. Like there's these will like be rapid fire quick ones before we get to the Hawkeye premiere date and wrap the whole thing up here. So, okay, so here's actually one here that came in right now. So you know Taika Waititi, right?
I do.
Yeah,
that name I do know.
He is currently writing a live action Flash Gordon movie for 20th Century Studios.
I will watch anything that guy does.
Like he's a talented filmmaker and he's like one of the people that I think is like kind of played the game well. Is like he did a bunch of great indie films. He got big stardom with like Thor Ragnarok and Thor Love and Thunder, and now he's like doing passion projects like Jojo Rabbit, which was probably one of the best films of 2019. And he's also doing like
right. He doesn't miss, and like and another. I'm sure studios are just throwing money at him. Yeah, like, no one's coming in. No, Feige is not stepping into fucking Love and Thunder. I mean, like Taika. I think
that's going to be like his movie.
I think you should make it less funny. I think we should take out the space sharks. Like that's not happening because he's proven himself, right?
Yeah.
So like we have to take that under consideration whenever we like get mad about studio meddling. Like
it's
like studios won't meddle. and obviously Zhao, and there will always be exceptions, and of course Chloe Zhao could be like towing the company line. Sure, she could. Why would she? I don't know. She seems like a pretty
Yeah,
like not that type of person, but whatever. I don't know. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
obviously Kevin Feige saw her last movie right before
yep,
anyone else, and he was like, "This fuck, she has it. I'm gonna give it. I'm
yeah,
gonna give
totally.
everything to her." And he had to, and he physically had to like fight for her, which is
Yeah,
again, that's the studio meddling you want, right?
yeah,
Right?
totally.
He
I
had to
feel
like,
like people like have like these like cartoon versions of like what studios how studios actually operate.
right. They just think it's
They're
a
not actually
guy
real
in
though, you know.
in a like leather chair smoking a cigar, being like, cancel, no, green
Yeah,
light, like red
that's not
light. You
how
know
it
what I mean?
works, man. Like it's
Yeah.
I mean it's for
Um,
some of them, but
so
like
it,
not.
So, I mean, I'm sure if Man of Steel, even if Man of Steel had been a smash, and I guarantee if BVS had made $1 billion, we would
Yeah.
still very much be in a Snyderverse right now.
Yeah, totally. And they were
Like,
like well received by people. I mean, again, like they have their fans, and there's nothing wrong with that. Again,
no,
I love these Snyder films. Hey, man, that's incredible, and you support them. That's awesome. I feel like we gotta like face facts sometimes. You know, sometimes things aren't the way they seem and the way we think about to be. And I know it's like the little guy versus the big man, but it's like that's not always like
but is it really like? I don't think Snyder's like the little man. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think. Yeah, is Ray Fisher the little man, and he gets fucking over? Did he get fucked
I
over?
would
Yes,
say that is
probably.
kind of
Yes,
true, but he's
that
kind
is
of like a
true.
diva in a lot of
Yeah,
ways.
is he like milking it for everything that it's worth? Absolutely. But
Yeah.
do I think like David Ayer and like obviously David Ayer is cool with Warner Brothers because he just wrote a script for them.
Yeah.
So I don't like obviously they're good. I don't know like where the complaint is there. And with Snyder I mean I think he has a yacht, so I think the dude's just fine.
The dude's pretty good. The dude's
Yeah,
pretty good.
like I don't, and yeah, do like it's a billionaire versus a multi-millionaire, right? Like
Yeah.
who are we fighting for exactly?
Totally. Yeah, definitely.
Uh,
It's all kind of crazy, you know. And
and
again,
that's what I love when people come at me like you're such a corporate bootlicker. I'm like, wait, what?
yeah,
Like you're
it's
like
like
you realize how much these guys get paid, right? Like you realize like they all have production companies and like are like
yeah,
making like hundreds of millions of dollars. Like Snyder makes hundreds of millions. Like you know what I mean? Like his production company gets a cut of all these movies. Like
yeah.
he's doing
Even
okay.
like the Bob Chapek thing and like the Scarlett Johansson thing, which I'm very much against. Like I'm on Scarlett Johansson's side of this. She
Yeah,
gets
but
paid
that's
many
again
millions of dollars. Yeah,
that is a unique situation because yes, the pandemic did happen. She was entitled to money that was not ever going to come for her.
yeah,
She got screwed from day fucking one. Like she should have had a solo movie after Iron
yeah.
Man 2,
And a lot of that
right?
was because of like Isaac Perlmutter, right?
Right. Yeah, yeah. And so while everyone around her were making these fat deals, she was getting nothing. And then when it finally happens, this poor girl, like, there's a pandemic, and it like she gets the rug ripped out from under her. It's not her fault. You know what I mean? It's not her being a diva. It's not her
Yeah,
like fault. She's entitled to this payout. Like she's been here for 10 fucking years. Like pony up, Disney. Like what are you doing?
yeah. No,
Um,
totally. It's sort of like more. It's like more bullshit than like that like stupid cloud of like, oh, there's a war in Lucasfilm, blah 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 blah. You know, which is not true. Is that true?
no, like
Not at all.
like Lucasfilm was doing fine, like just dandy. In fact, I think they're like I I don't I Luke I, what's it called the technology they created
Yeah, the
the
background stuff there.
oh my
I
god,
can't
it
remember
has a
the
very
fucking
specific
filmmaker.
name.
But yeah, it's kind of weird because like
But
people
like,
like make these narratives that aren't fucking true. It's like, oh, Kathleen Kennedy's out. Oh, Kathleen Kennedy's out. Oh, Kathleen Kennedy's out now. It's like, guys, you guys keep moving the fucking goalposts. None of this makes sense. You guys are just screaming bullshit. None of it is real. You're in a fucking dream world. And again, well, you
yeah,
know what?
I don't know where that I just don't know where it comes from. You know what I mean? Like I
It
don't.
comes from like the Midnight Edge people.
But
The
where do they
Penguin.
get it from? Like where? Like who's telling them? Like and at what? Like you know? Okay, so let's take it again. Let's go back to the scooping thing, for example.
Yeah,
If someone comes to my DMs and says uh, all this shit to me, and I'm like, okay, that sounds plausible. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go ask. Obviously, I'm gonna go ask somebody else. But let's say I'm not. Let's say I'm gonna come out and say, I'm gonna say all this stuff on my YouTube channel and make break it in,
Mhm.
And then that thing, all those things end up being like a week later just blatantly proven wrong,
And then
right?
they like change their story. It's like, oh, you see, they're trying to cover it up because like it's a
And
bad look.
but not even that, like then they go back to the same sources. Like, what are you
Yeah,
talking? Like that I would never use that source again. I would never talk to that person again. Like, you're pulling my fucking leg.
yeah.
Like
You're obviously feeding me bullshit.
yeah. So like, I don't know why they keep referring, like, again. That
Yeah,
one podcast and website would keep referring, like, oh, this same source. Like, your source is fucked up. Like, it's bullshit. Like, so stop using it. Like, I don't, like, why do you keep digging this hole for yourself? You know what I mean? Like, just stop. And it's weird too, because like they stopped. They don't really put out scoops anymore.
yeah,
They
totally.
haven't really since the Snyder Cut came out. That's weird. So I don't know. I don't know. It's a weird thing. I think people in general should just, uh, and we've said this. I've said this since I've started writing this. Just pay with your wallet. I mean, vote with your wallet, dude. Like, vote with your wallet. Be as loud as you want on Twitter, but at the end of the day, all the studios care about is how much money they make, and they're going to vote with your wallet. It's why you're not getting a Birds of Prey sequel. I'm sure it did. Like, it made. Yes, did it do perform well box office wise? No, it didn't. Did it make its money back? Maybe, but they're not going to, like, it's not something they're going to continue to pursue. They're going to make a Birds of Prey 2 because of that reason, right? They may use those characters in other aspects, but there's not going to be a direct sequel because it just didn't perform well enough for them. So that's always going to be the way to vote, like, right? So if movies that people keep saying are like propaganda or this or that are making billions of dollars, and they keep saying, well, this isn't what the fans want. Well, what fans are you referring to? Because I got a box office receipt here for $1.5 billion. So I don't know. I guess the 5,000 fans that you're referring to aren't as loud or aren't as important as you think they are. I think that's what it comes down to. It's just these people just aren't as important as they think they are, and
Yeah.
we have to stop fucking pretending that they are.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, man. Anyway, so we'll get into the finals. Okay, so there's like one more story before we get into the Hawkeye thing. So like, I know I'm more into the. I love blockbusters. I love this mainstream stuff, but I'm also into like the indie hard house stuff as well. And there's this new report that Tom Hanks is going to be in Wes Anderson's new movie after the French Dispatch, which is coming out in October. It's in a really shitty spot there. It's going to be going up against Dune, the new Edgar Wright movie starring. Her name, the actress that I really liked. She was in New Mutants. She was in also Thoroughbreds. That one as well. Last Night in Soho. That's going to be up against that one. It's going to be up against Dune. But getting back to the main story, that's Wes Anderson is a really fantastic storyteller. I love him. He's been great, and he's a great director. He's done wonderful stuff like what is it? Miss Fantastic, Mr. Fox, Isle of Dogs. He's also done the Grand Budapest Hotel. He's really great, and I'm really excited. He's got his next project lined up with Tom Hanks. There's also Bill Murray's going to be in there, but of course Bill Murray's in everything. So it's I'm pretty excited for that. So that's pretty nice. I wonder what studio he's going to be going with. So we'll see.
Yeah, sorry, kids in the background.
I know.
Like, oh, they're talking. I'm mute. Yeah, I don't know. I'm worried for the state of theaters. I am, and I loved. Dune looks phenomenal. It's not gonna do well at the box office. It's
I
not.
hope so. I truly hope so, man.
It's not. And there's no possible. And if I pray to God I'm wrong, and it just smashes, and they're just like boom, boom, boom. But they're already invested, right? They're already invested in that universe.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's gonna matter.
And
Again, this is where streaming comes in, right? This is where streaming can be the savior for things like this, right? So it's a bad thing and it's a good thing. But in the case of Dune, like, maybe streaming is the good thing, right? Because it's not going to perform well box office wise, but it's a hit on streaming. They're going to do a streaming show that's connected to it. That's a hit on streaming. Same thing with Suicide Squad, right? Maybe it's not a box office hit, but it's going to have a streaming. It's going to be on streaming. It's going to have a tie-in show also on streaming. It's going to tie right into it. So if people want to go back, that content, it's always going to be there for them. You know what I mean? And so they're always going to have this interconnected universe. And what does that streaming investment pay off longer in the long term than the short term box office world? And that's no one knows because we haven't had that. We don't have the data, right? We haven't had these streaming services long. Well, they don't release their data. Number one, So we may never know, because I mean Netflix would really be our only like baseline, right? Because they've been around the longest. Their network, they'll never share it. And then yeah, so we may never know if that's the work. But the way we will know though, right, is if they start shrinking those theatrical windows even more, or things just go straight to streaming. And I think again, obviously something's working, because HBO Max already has a plan for two what should be, in my opinion, theatrical films that will go to streaming. And I don't know on the Disney side. I don't think Disney has any giant plans for things that would be considered theatrical to go to streaming in the future, right?
Yeah. Oh, I think after Jungle Cruise, they're gonna go the 45-day window with Shang-Chi and Free Guy.
But
Again, I
but they
think
don't.
Free Guy's gonna do very good though. I think
But
it's gonna
but let's so but they're not doing what HBO Max is doing, and they're not going to put like a Jungle Cruise quality product on, because yes, HBO or Disney Plus does have like movies, right? I'm using movies in quotes. They have quote unquote movies, but those I would not qualify those movies as the same movie as something like a Black Batgirl or a Blue Beetle. At least up front, like, you know what I mean? Like they're not putting. I guess they're doing this with the shows though. They're not putting like they're not doing a America Chavez movie on Disney Plus,
Yeah,
right?
I don't see that happening. Well, at least not at the immediate future. But you know, like it's you
So
know,
that's going to be our indicator, though, right? So when Disney Plus starts starts populating itself with
mhm.
$100 million, $200 million movies, and all these streaming services do, because I mean Netflix is already doing it, right?
I see like I see like the director driven studio stuff like The Irishman, stuff
Yeah,
like that. Which you
but
don't want to
we
see,
haven't
you
even
know.
seen that. Now that I think about it, we haven't even seen that from Netflix, because Netflix is buying those. They're not
Yeah.
producing them, right?
Well,
So
they
we
have
have to
like a
see.
bunch of stuff with Snyder. They have like they have
They,
like
so
yeah.
we need to see these streaming services physically produce the film and see what that payout is
Yeah,
before we can get
totally.
a real indication.
Yeah, I think like a big one. I think a big example of that would probably be like Extraction. That was like a big hit for them. That was produced by
And they
Disney.
produced that. That was like a Netflix in-house Netflix
Yeah,
thing.
it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it would be interesting to see those numbers compared to something that they bought, right? And what the value is for them is.
Hmm.
And then I guess there's no comparison there for them really theatrically, because they're not doing anything theatrically. But
Yeah.
then if it were like if it were or Disney or any of the other studio streaming services, what that you compare that to what it did theatrically, and find out the cost value for that. So again, there is a world where, and then this is just corporation business. It's nothing personal, that the streaming service becomes the main platform, and the theater becomes like an experience platform.
Yeah, and you know, I know a lot of people are gonna resent that, and I do to a lot of things. I mean, again, I love seeing like big movies like fucking Fast Nine, which is not very good on the big screen, and also like little stuff like Stillwater or Free Guy or The Green Knight or fucking Booksmart, which
Is the
we,
Green Knight coming to POV or
no,
PV?
it's coming to theaters this Friday. It's coming. It actually came
Is
out
it
today. And
does it have a weird window, or is it gonna
no,
be
it
like
doesn't. It's going to be theatrically exclusive. You know.
I live in like a smaller suburb. I don't think there's a theater playing that
All
anywhere
right.
around me.
Okay. Cool. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. But yeah, no.
Uh,
I
but
just
again, that's not a movie. That is a movie I would stream, right? Because I like my wife's not gonna want to fucking go see the
yeah.
Green Knight. No offense, like
Yeah. And there's
uh,
so much content out there. I feel
right.
like when people like say about it's flooded with like superhero stuff. Yeah, that's true to a point. But there's also like so much content out there that's not superhero stuff that like gets a lot of attention as well. Like Ted Lasso and other stuff on Netflix and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, you'll still like. I feel like there is so much content out there that I feel like a lot of it gets cheapened on streaming, and you can make that argument. But I feel like there's just so much stuff for
But
everybody to
that's the thing. I don't
watch.
know if it does get cheaper on streaming, and I think that's what they have to figure out. And they have to figure out the long term payout, because I think it came out. It came out this week that another big, like, I think it's either Amazon or
Mhm.
HBO, maybe it was spending like $200 million on like this one series or whatever. I don't. Do you know what series that was?
Um,
I don't remember what it
what was it?
was. I want to say it was Game of Thrones, but I don't know. But it was a lot. It was like another like giant fucking number for a streaming show. And that goes back to Amazon, right? Amazon's report, and they denied this, but reportedly could be spending upwards of like $1 billion on their Lord of the Rings thing. So, like at some point, like there's going to be a tipping line, right? And obviously, again, Amazon's not a great example, and Netflix isn't a great example because they have these giant treasure chests, right? They have these giant, like they could spend the money. So we didn't really need to see like what the studio streaming services are doing and how it compares to their theatrical releases before anyone can really make a judgment call on what's going to happen. But again, as soon as you start seeing studio films show up on streaming services, I think that means the theater's in trouble.
We'll see how the Scarlett Johansson things comes out here. So anyway, we're gonna wrap up with the final topic of tonight of this stream is going to be Hawkeye. So it's got a premiere date, November 24th, 2021. And I just want to get into like my thoughts of like Phase 4 overall because I gotta say, you know, from like, and again, I don't mean to be a Marvel shill. Like I am critical of some of their movies. Like
it's not fair. It's not. They're so good. Yeah. Like you know what I mean. Like and you can point back to like, oh, I don't like Thor Ragnarok, or Iron Man 2 isn't good, or what's the other one people say is not good? Iron Man 3 or whatever. All good movies. They're all good movies, and so I don't like, and you can not like them, sure, but consistently, like Marvel just puts out bangers.
Yeah, to me, like I did have a couple issues of like Captain Marvel, and the Wasp, and stuff like that. They weren't like the greatest, but honestly, after like Endgame, I feel like they've been like on a very like big like stride there, where they have like great stuff. Like I really liked Far From Home. That was probably my favorite from Homecoming, and really kind of had John Watts a way to like stretch his talents. You know, like the 3 Disney Plus shows I've been a fan of as well. Like I think they've been producing pretty.
They've been like Loki was so good. Yeah, like I don't know how that does not win like awards. And I don't think it's eligible this year, right?
Yeah.
Like I think I get WandaVision. I thought WandaVision started out very strong, and I think it fucking just flubbed the ending. And I get it. It's a piece of a puzzle, and it's very apparent now that it's a piece of a puzzle. But I understand why they wanted to lead with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is also amazing. Like it's so good, right? Like I don't think there was a bad episode. Like the thing that Marvel does so well is like I think they're a good testament that like 6 episodes can work, right? You can have a short season, and it's going to be extremely satisfying. You don't need like 10 or 22, heaven for fucking bid, 22 episodes. Because I think that's what just killed the superhero genre on TV. Look at the fucking Flash.
I don't know. I feel like the Flash gets shit on a lot.
Well, you're just running ideas. Like you're writing 22 episodes. You're writing 10 seasons. Well, that's 220 episodes or something crazy, right? That's I out of ideas. Like there's no way. Like you know what I mean? Even if you are pulling from fucking comics and shit, you're just like they're like you can only do the same thing so many times. So yeah, I just think I don't know. I think it's gonna be crazy. The next 5 years is gonna be very telling.
I feel like a lot of the shows are really like I think Feige's really like let the creators like kind of like do really crazy stuff there, and I feel like it's a shift from like 2019 where they did have a little bit more control, but now they're kind of like going crazy. They have like better people involved. They have
and he seems to be this like he's the Marvel Studios is, if anything, like they're the best at it's poaching young talent.
Yeah,
and so like he just goes get a lot of credit for that. I want this guy, like, and it seems to be working for them very well. I mean, look at Loki and look at the guy they like exclusively signed to write for them.
Totally. Mark Walden. He like got another show called Heels with
who gets a fucking writing deal like that? Like you know what I mean? Like so, and look at Zhao. You know what I mean? Like nobody picked her to do an Eternals movie.
Did you see Nomad?
I haven't seen Nomad yet. Again, not a movie. Like I don't watch movies alone, and that's a hard sell to the wife. It's like, let's watch this weird. Like,
trust me. It's like really good. I love indie cinema, you know. And that's how
it's beautiful. Like I've seen, like you know, I've watched clips of it, and stuff, and I understand where she's going with Eternals because apparently she used a lot of natural light on that as well.
There, you know. And I kind of hope they kind of like break the mold of like, you know, Marvel just makes generic movies. And I hope Phase 4.
I think they have breaking that mold, and I don't think that's a valid argument anymore.
Yeah,
I don't think it has been for I mean,
I think past 2015, I would say that I'm not the biggest fan of Doctor Strange. I mean, I'll point out generic Marvel movies
yeah, I think that origin stories definitely need to work. But I think that's maybe where the TV shows can come in because they get a little bit more time
yeah,
to breathe a little bit. You know what I mean? Like
totally.
give Wanda, and that wasn't an origin story per se for Wanda and Vision, but it kind of was because it was Wanda becoming Scarlet Witch. It was the Vision becoming something new. Right? He's not. He's I don't know what he is. He's a White Vision now.
Yeah, totally.
So it's kind of an origin for them as well, and we learned so much more about them, more than we ever would have
Yeah,
in any of like their team up movies, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
I think they're very much treating those, and I think they work much better because you do get that like
And
prolonged.
and again, I don't just want all Marvel like taking over everything. I want to make that very clear. But I'm pretty excited for the new slate, man. I really I think they got a lot of creative people coming on board. I think they've like learned a lot of mistakes from the past phases, and I think they're going to be pretty good. Again, I know there's going to be a lot of people that hate him because it's like woke, which it's like get the fuck out of here. I'm sorry.
I'm so excited for it, and I can't wait for like Spider-Man Far From Home to like
I
just
mean,
like
No Way Home
that
actually.
or No Way Home. Sorry, because
Yeah,
that's literally the tip of the iceberg. Everybody,
yeah,
like I want
totally.
everyone to understand.
Okay,
Like,
can I ask you one question about the multiverse stuff here?
sure.
You can kind of confirm or deny it. So, like, there's been this rumor going around that like Miss Marvel, I mean not Miss Marvel, Captain Carter is going to be in Doctor Strange 2. Is
I
that
have
false?
not heard anything like that, and I don't know if that's true. And I think that the only reason the article exists is because people assume
Yeah,
that
no.
in the trailer we see Shamu Garoth,
Yep.
like we see his tentacles. I don't even think that. I don't even know if that's Shamu Garoth. I wouldn't
All
even
right.
because
Okay.
again, if you look at this would be a cool idea, and I hope I'm not spoiling anything. I don't know. This is just my thought, and maybe where
All
this
right.
what if stuff is going,
Mm-hmm.
and where they could tie in Shamu Garoth to the more grounded stuff, which is like
Cool.
what they like to do, right? Um, and you look at the Hydra symbol, and it
Yep.
has the tentacles and stuff on it. What if there was a Hydra, like there was always like a Hydra plan to like explore, or in the new, I guess it wouldn't work, but at some like what if the idea for Hydra 2 was to explore the multiverse, and they found this like entity, and that entity was the one they were serving all along, and that's where the like cut off one and another grows comes from. You know what I mean? It comes from this like actual like multiverse creature where you literally cut off
Yeah.
this limb, or you literally cut off the tie and another grow. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so like, what if that's the thing that it kind of ties all this together, and you get the Hydra thing. And maybe people won't like that. I don't know. I don't think that's happening. But that scene does happen in a Hydra base,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
right?
That's pretty
So
cool. I'll just see what I'll just wait and see what the movie's there because again I'm very excited to see like the talent they got there, and I feel like John Watts taking over Fantastic Four is kind of really telling like how good No Way Home is. I hope I have my skepticisms about No Way Home. I'm kind of worried that it's gonna like pull a Spider-Man three, but I kind of I just hope they actually like work there. I just hope it works.
yeah,
Well,
I think I think that the kind of like X factor, it's a dumb like '90s term, is Kevin Feige, right?
yeah, totally.
I think if Sony was in charge, I would be much more concerned.
Well,
But I think,
speaking of that, like, what do you think Sony's going to do after No Way Home? What do you
oh,
think is
they're
going to
making
happen?
a deal with Marvel, 100%.
How do you know that?
Well, I think the Disney Plus stuff is a huge indication,
All right, that's true.
right?
I was kind of like skeptical that was going to happen again because like that whole thing of like they're like
'Cause it was Sony, right? They're moving all the Spider-Man films to Disney Plus. They
yeah
announced that,
there
right?
was like that like whole thing back in like late May where they were
Right.
talking about oh this we're gonna have a plan for Spider-Man, and I was just kind of like, oh gosh, and again, Sony's a great studio. Like, Tom Rothman, he does great star-driven stuff like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Baby Driver. I think he's a great studio head, but when it comes to genre stuff, he's not very good at that.
But yeah, I
So
think people want to get in the Kevin Feige game, right? That's why
yeah,
he gets the talent he does. That's why he gets the Zhaos and the
yeah,
YTDs and stuff. They want to be in the game.
yeah,
That's why Coogler works. That's why Coogler, despite every terrible thing that happened with uh, Black Panther and Chadwick,
Chadwick, yeah,
he's going to persist and move on because it's an important character to him. It's an important character to the overall universe, and I'm sure he wants to keep that relationship with Feige, and he likes that relationship. He likes working there. They wouldn't keep going back if it's that's like I always was curious about they're Marvel just overlords all these movies why does Zeus always come back?
Yeah,
Always. And the only reason, and I want to point to what about Derrickson or what about Jenkins or what about Aaron Taylor's experience? Well, it's Aaron, not Aaron, Alan Taylor. Alan Taylor those were very early days. Jenkins, Alan Taylor were very early days. So I'll give you that. Ike Perlmutter was still very much there, and that was a fucking shit show. And it was a battle. It was obviously Kevin Feige was battling fucking every step of the way.
Yeah.
But now that seems not to be the case. So let's just trust in Kevin Feige. Let's make a deal where we both can make money off of this because what we were doing was not working. The Sony films were purely carried on the name Spider-Man. They just didn't work in the way they wanted to. And then I guess we'll do our I don't know what they're going to do with the Sony Universe thing. I don't know. I guess we're going to kind of wait and see on that stuff. But I think what the point of the multiverse is in the back of Kevin Feige's mind is well, Venom did well.
Yeah.
People generally kind of seem to like it.
All right.
I can work with this.
All right. Cool.
Right. Or Craven did really well. Let's talk. Let's start talking. Let's have these conversations about how we can merge these two things. And then you have the excuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have this multiverse thing happening. So
all right, gotcha.
I think Sony and Marvel are going to be playing ball for a while.
Okay, I hope you're right. But if it doesn't happen, I will accept that I got 3 great movies out of it. And
if it doesn't happen, I think Marvel finds a way to buy Spider-Man.
Okay, I maybe, but I think that's I think it's a big I think that's a big stretch, but we'll see there. But again, I think there's a lot of stuff in the comic book genre that I'm really looking forward to. There's a lot of creative stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff coming from Warner Brothers, Disney, well, Marvel. I hate Disney Bob Chapek, unless he fucks it up, man. Which I'm worried he's gonna do that. All that shit. Oh my god, that guy's such an asshole.
Doesn't sound great. I mean, I'm glad. I'm glad I'm not a Disney employee right now because I would be pins and needles every day.
Such an asshole. But yeah, anyway. But also the Amazon, which has its own issues. But yeah, I think it's pretty good. I just worry about the other stuff other mainstream films Free Guy's success and. I wonder how they're gonna do. Do you think next year's box office before you head out here? Do you think next year's box office of Nope from Jordan Peele, and a couple?
I think Batman is going to be the big indicator next year.
All right, yeah. But what
that's going to be what's Marvel putting out next year?
They're gonna have Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel.
I wouldn't worry about Captain Marvel. So I think Batman and Doctor Strange are going to be your big indicators because they're two. Again, they're wildly different, right? You got one insane, colorful movie.
Yep.
Another dark, gritty genre film.
Yeah.
So I think if those do well, I think we can officially say hey, maybe we're back in business here. But I think if they don't do well, then we have to have a serious conversation.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of curious about how there's a lot of big stuff coming in 2022. There's a lot of star powered vehicle stuff this Jennifer Lopez movie with we call it a wedding comedy from Jennifer Lopez. There's 2 Pixar.
Yeah, but I don't think we can judge those movies, and I think a lot of those stuff are all that stuff. What's the term in gaming?
Yeah,
it's not. I think the only stuff that's going to survive in a movie theater is going to be a AAA title.
All right, AAAs.
You know what I mean? And again, that sucks. That fucking sucks. It does. But I think what's going to happen with these smaller movies, and you see, I mean, even the Tomorrow War, right? That should have been a theatrical film. Amazon bought it out, so I think anything that they don't think is going to be successful, it's not going to at least make its money back in a movie theater. They're going to look to selling streaming. So I think we could be limited to a space in the very near future where only movies that are guaranteed to, or at least projected to make a profit are going to show up in a movie theater. And I know that includes niche comedies. So no offense to Jennifer Lopez, but you know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
think.
I do think like big name director stuff like Jordan Peele, Ari Aster.
Yeah. I think those can succeed. But again, it's cost
Yeah,
versus profit, right? Or
yeah, Bullet
so
Train as
they
well.
can. Ari Aster can make a movie for 50 million, 70, 50 to 70, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
I don't know how I'm under 100, definitely,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
Easily. Probably same thing with Jordan Peele. His movie is definitely kind of probably, depending on who he's bringing on to star in it, under
All right,
100 million, right?
all right, all
Um,
right.
so they don't have to make that much at the box office, right? So they can still have those theatrical runs. But
Yeah,
if you're investing $200 million, like that's a different.
yeah. That's
If that
why
movie, if you're
Martin
investing
Scorsese is
$200 million and that movie tests poorly,
yeah,
you're going to
totally.
be shopping it around to
Yeah,
every
it's
streaming
crazy,
service you
man.
can.
Again, I just kind of wonder because again going back to like the premium day stuff, I kind of wonder like I feel like Disney's like really like shooting itself in the back because like Jungle Cruise and Free Guy would have like I think Free Guy is going to do very well, but I just worry about Jungle Cruise being cannibalized by like its own fucking like premiere access shit, and then like there's going to be like a whole like controversy with that, and I just worry they're like shooting themselves. And the same with Warner Brothers. Like they fucking like cut the legs off of their like biggest films of the year, like Matrix Four, Dune, fucking like that Hugh Jackman movie that looks pretty good from the Westworld writer. It's just the Suicide Squad. I just worry about how well they're gonna do, and I just kind of worry about that.
Yeah, so I think we just have to write this year off and not worry about it too much. Sorry, oh my
No, it's okay. It's okay. Okay.
god. I think we just have to write this year off and not worry about it too much, and then hope next year is better, and then that's gonna be our real indication, right? Like
All
it's
right,
how everything
totally.
will change.
I totally agree with that. But anyway, I think we're gonna wrap this up here, dude. Casey, it was such a pleasure to have you on. I know it went a bit long, but this was a fun thing. I hope we could do this again, man.
Yeah, anytime. I'll try and find a time when my kids are asleep next time, so you don't hear a
Oh yeah,
howling
yeah,
wolf
yeah,
in the background.
definitely, definitely. I totally agree with you, man. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching here. This will be premiering soon, and catch you later.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.